working to reduce lawsuit abuse. I'm Jill Horner. This is Comcast Newsmakers. With me this hour is Pennsylvania State Representative Keith Gillespie. Thanks so much for being with us.
Jill, great to be with you and your viewers.
Let's talk a little bit about how this legislation works. It's already out of the House. You say it's related to a benevolent gesture, saying, I'm sorry.
Exactly. Pennsylvania, as a result of this legislation, will now join 35 other states and the District in Columbia and be able to have this to simply have a frank and open discussion between patients, their families, and a medical provider. Even on times where there maybe was not an incident of malpractice, it was simply, there was about an outcome for an unexpected reason. Somebody died, and unfortunately that happens quite frequently in the medical practice. People are sick, and regardless of all the king's horses and all the king's men, people are going to pass away. But up until this point, medical providers are very hesitant and reluctant to simply offer compassion and benevolence or empathy to a patient or their surviving family, saying, we're sorry that it happened, for fear that that would be construed as guilt and be used against them in a lawsuit. Many times litigation is filed out of frustrations by the family or the patient because of this lack of exchange of information or conversation. So this benevolent gesture bill, which passed most recently in the House of Representatives, now over in the Senate, will allow for that open dialogue.
And will that open dialogue result in less lawsuits? Has it worked in other states?
It certainly has. Again, many times the people feel the only way they can get information is to file a lawsuit so that the testimony will be read in court and the medical records and so forth can be reviewed, even though they'd have access to that. This will, and has proven in other states, to ward off those fact-finding kind of lawsuit filings. Could
this potentially lead to a reduction in medical malpractice rates that doctors are currently paying the insurance that they have to carry?
Right, and that has been the read from not only the Hospital Association and the Medical Society, but also the Pennsylvania Chamber of Business and Industry, the Manufacturers Association, et cetera.
And would that help to retain doctors in Pennsylvania?
Most certainly. A lot of physicians now getting ready to get started look at what the malpractice liability premiums are, and we can go to other states where many times that's being paid for by a group or a hospital entity that they may join.
If this does go through and is signed into law, if a doctor says, I'm sorry, does a family still have the right to sue?
They most certainly do. And also, it's not going to limit any amount of damages they may be able to receive. The only thing that the caveat is, it would prevent that admission of guilt to be used in the testimony in the court of law.
And now let's switch gears and talk about another issue that you've been working on. It's related to hunters. Many people in Pennsylvania do use the lands here to hunt, and you say there's something called a back tag, and Pennsylvania is only one of 2 states to require this. What is this?
Exactly. As you noted, there's over 1 million licensed hunters in Pennsylvania, and right now those 1 million hunters have to wear their license on an outside garment. And many times they lose the license going through the brush, or perhaps they may have forgot they have it on one coat and put it on another. My legislation, which passed recently out of the House Fish and Game Committee and is waiting to be read on the floor, will allow them to carry their license within their wallet. Pennsylvania will join 48 other states. The only exception is New York, that will update this antiquated practice.
Was the purpose of wearing it on the back to allow hunters to be easily identifiable and have enforcement in place when it comes to ensuring that the licenses are proper, hunters are hunting within season in the proper places? Most
certainly. And as a matter of fact, up until they switched to the point of sale, each license varying from year to year had a different color. So they would easily identify whether they had the current license. Also, it could be read with a pair of binoculars. But as we all know, landowners, particularly who might have some concerns with this, have the right to demand the license to be presented to them, and they can get that information.
Okay, and why do you think this would be an important step for hunters? Is it a matter of convenience?
Mostly out of convenience. There are a number of licenses that get lost, so there's a cost factor associated with that, with the replacement of it. But also, they don't have to worry which coat they may have the license on, because they can switch from garment to garment depending on what they may be hunting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jill.
We've been talking with Pennsylvania State Representative Keith Gillespie. I'm Jill Horner.